Namaste and welcome to this special episode of the 10 p.m. live today. And today, generally on Monday, we keep an off, but today, because of these events on the border in Eastern Ladakh, I decided that I had to meet you, even if for a short while. So, what happened was in the morning, there was a press release by the Indian Army that said that there was a scuffle or there was a clash on the southern side of Pangong Tso. I hope you recall the map of Pangong Tso. If not, I will put out the map of Pangong Tso shortly. So what happened was that there was a press release. The press release said that Indian Army preempted a unilateral alteration of the status quo by the PLA. No, that's a very harmless kind of press release. But you have to read between the lines. And reading between the lines, in fact, I was trying to read between the lines throughout the day. And after reading between the lines, I reached a very significant conclusion. And the significant conclusion was that if you remember what the CDS Bipin Rawat had said a few days ago, said that if the military and diplomatic talks are not going to bear fruit, then military options are on the table. So it was, in fact, commented upon by the Global Times, which is the mouthpiece of the Chinese Communist Party. The Chinese Communist Party is China, actually. The Chinese Communist Party has two organs. One is the Chinese military, the PLA, and the PLA has three wings. One is PLA, the other is PLA-N, that is PLA Navy, and the third is the PLA-AF, that is the PLA Air Force. Of course, there are other commands as well, like the Strategic Command, Space Command, and all that. So the CCP, mouthpiece, Global Times, commented on that and said that it is warmongering or something like that. When I read that, I commented in a tweet and I welcomed it and I said that this is a very significant statement. Today, when I was trying to read between the lines and I went through all the OSINT, that is the open source intelligence that was available on Twitter, on Google, and whatever other sources I had within the services. So then I came to a conclusion. I came to the conclusion that this was actually a proactive move by the Indian Army. And the result is there for everybody to see. If you can read between the lines of what Global Times is saying, the Global Times goes and starts accusing India of staging some kind of a theater or staging a stunt, actually. Hu Xixin said that India staged a stunt. This is the tweet. Now I'll just try and zoom in and show you what exactly it says. Hu Xijin. You know who is Hu Xijin? Hu Xijin is the editor of the Global Times. So below that, you see the Global Times tweet that came. That was the first one to come, that Indian troops have violated the consensus reached at the multi-level talks between India and China and again crossed the line of actual control at the border on Monday and purposely launched provocations. PLA Western Theatre Command. Again, very significant. You normally do not get statements from their theatre commands. This was a statement issued by the theatre command. So that actually set the alarm bells ringing in my ears. And can we get that tweet again, please? Let it stay there for some time. Please let it stay there. Yeah. So this is the one. So Hu Xijin, the editor of the Global Times, then he himself comes on and makes this comment. Indian troops again pulled a stunt at border. They always think China will make concessions to provocative actions in consideration of overall situation. Don't misjudge the situation anymore. If there is a conflict in Pangong Lake, it will only end in new defeat of Indian army. When you read these two tweets together, and if you have studied the ways of the Chinese military, the CPC, and the Chinese press, that is the controlled press, the Global Times. And it is a very intriguing statement, But normally, what the Chinese would do, that they would first try and grab some territory, and after that, they will say that they are being thwarted in asserting their claims or something like that. It will be more of a neutral kind of a statement that will emanate from the Global Times. This is a panicky kind of a tweet, and these are panicky statements. So I waited and I looked at the OSINT that was available, and then I did not have to look very far because Global Times came with a series of tweets. So what was it again? No, next it says that Indian troops have violated the consensus. This I've already read. On this, Hu Shijin has already commented. This was the original one, across the line of actual control. Then there was another. The next tweet, it's just coming on your screen. Yeah. Okay. So this is the one. And this is also a comment on that original tweet. And it is almost, almost within 10 minutes of the original tweet. So it confirms the panic reaction. What does it say? It says China strongly opposes the acts and urges India to immediately withdraw the troops that have illegally crossed the LAC, PLA Western Theatre Command. Now, please try and read this along with the press release that was issued by the Indian Army. The Indian Army said that China tried to occupy certain areas, they tried to alter the status quo, and India preempted them. Okay, so how did India preempt them? We'll see. So the tweet war continues, and the Global Times comes up with this. Chinese troops are taking necessary measures in response to Indian troops' provocations and will closely follow the situation and resolutely safeguard national sovereignty, peace, and stability at the border area. PLA Western Theatre Command. Again, now take a very close look at this tweet. Take a very close look at this tweet. This is again from PLA Western Theatre Command. So the first tweet is by PLA Western Theatre Command. There's a comment on it by Global Times. Then Global Times again issues a statement which is put out by PLA Western Theatre Command. PLA Western Theatre Command has, in quick succession, put out two tweets. This is again very significant. So I was completely intrigued by this time. So I started exploring all the open source intelligence that was available. While I was exploring the open source intelligence, a little while ago, we got another one. Now, this particular news was there yesterday itself, and I think it was carried by most of the newspapers and most of the portals, and almost every strategic expert and defense expert was talking about it. And this is in the form of an opinion. So that means that there is a published opinion piece on Global Times that says the border issue should be resolved in a rational, calm, and pragmatic manner based on mutual respect. India's any attempt, such as deploying one of its warships to South China Sea to pressure China, will be in vain. What does this mean? This means that China has taken cognizance of Indian moves in the South China Sea. Before that, India was already doing exercises with the US Navy. And now the Indian ship is not only present in the Malacca Straits. So, Malacca Straits is our backyard. You know, that little maritime passage that is south of the Nicobar Islands, and a very short passage between the Indonesian islands and the Malaysian islands, and the Singapore Channel. That is the Malacca Strait. And the Malacca Strait is completely dominated by Indian Andaman Nicobar Command, which is a joint command. And India is in a position to block off that particular passage if the need arises. India is already policing that area. It is called 10-degree channel, which is the major international shipping channel through which all the VLCCs, so the very large crude carriers, pass. And these very, very large crude carriers carry more than 100,000 tons of crude oil in each one of them. So China is now linking the two. And we must also mention that China had positioned their J-20 aircrafts in the Hotan area. That is in the upper Ladakh theater. In the Xinjiang, that is this Western theater, is Xinjiang and Tibet. So in Xinjiang, they had positioned the J-20 fighters. And J-20 fighters were meant to bolster the morale of their troops who had been demoralized by the induction of the Rafales. And anyway, I can tell you that Rafales any day will take out J-20s, 10 times out of 10. That's not the issue. But the issue is that this J-20 was positioned there. So what happened was that the general consensus among the defense expert was that this J-20 has been positioned there in order to cover some kind of move that is going to be made by the Chinese. But what happened? I'll tell you what happened. What happened was this time India made the move. India made the move, and India went and occupied certain unoccupied areas. This is what has happened. This is the reality, and that is why Chinese are so rattled, and Indians are very smugly saying that, okay, we just tried to preempt some moves of the Chinese. The whole world is going to believe India only because the conduct of China has been very reprehensible. You know that they never disclose their dead, and yesterday it was all over the press, and everywhere those 106 burial sites were disclosed. It's not known internationally. 106. India lost 20 soldiers. One died later on. So total 20. But China has lost 106. I think all of you also must have seen those burial sites that were there in almost all the newspapers today morning. So where exactly did it happen? Now let's come to the maps. So I'll show you the first map here. Okay, this is the map of that area. So up there, you see the lake, where you see on the upper right hand side, Pangong Tso written, that is the lake. And where F4 is written, can you see that? F4? Can you zoom in a little bit to F4? Yes. You see that little asterisk there going there? This is F4. So this is F4, and that is the northern bank. Now, all the action so far in Pangong Tso had been on the northern bank. This action is on the southern bank. Can you zoom out a little bit, please? This Thakung and this helmet, black top, and you see that little purple line going. That is the line of actual control under the Indian perception. That Pangong Tso is another lake, and this on the left hand side is Chushul. And between Chushul and Pangong Tso, this area is called the Spanger Gap. And this is also in that Rezang La area where that famous 1962 battle had taken place. So what has happened? What has happened is that India is already sitting pretty on these very high positions. The point 5167 that you see is the highest position in this area. Magar Hill is overlooking their entire Spanger So lower elevation area, and ITBP Hill is also a very high feature in this area. So Indians have gone and occupied certain area. Which area? The Chinese have come out now finally with a map, and they say that this particular area India has occupied. Let's go to that. The next map. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So now you can relate. This is a larger area map. And you can see Spanger So, you can see Chushul, and up there where you see on the top corner, this is the Pangong Tso, and Rekin, where you have that red circle. Rekin is the area that the Chinese are alleging that India has gone and occupied. That is below Rezangla. Rezangla, that famous battleground. The Chinese had entered from Rekin and attacked Rezangla, where that resolute defense was put up by Major Shaitan Singh and his Garhwalis. Yeah. Sir, Reckon, Chinese allege, has been occupied by India. This time, I agree with the Chinese. Yes, it is India which has made the move, and India has replied China in its own style, given it back exactly what they deserved. But of course, we will keep denying. We will say that China wanted to again alter the status quo, again wanted to extend the LAC, and everybody internationally would believe it because that has been the Chinese behavior all along, not just from today, but right from 1950s onwards, not only with India, but almost with every neighbor, even with those neighbors with which it has actually delimited its border and even demarcated its border. And in spite of that, they keep pushing forward and they keep reclaiming more and more areas on the basis of some historical maps that they keep producing. Whether they are real or they are fake, we don't know. So this round, friends, goes 100% to India. Indians have done to China exactly what Chinese had been doing to India all these days, all these years. That they would first come in, 1 minute, they would come in and they would alter the status quo, and then they say that this is the LAC, this is the fait accompli, and this is our perception, and we have not crossed our perception, we have not gone beyond our line, and whatever you are saying is wrong. This has been their practice. So this time, China gets it back. That's what it is. So I end this discussion here. This is a short one. Are there any questions? I think there was one. And beer on me, enjoy. Okay, I don't take beer, by the way. I will need a Coke, Diet Coke, and zero Coke preferably. So thank you very much. This is from me. And actually, you can listen to this, listen to it again and again, and have a very good night's sleep. Enjoy your ascendancy on the Chinese and enjoy their panic.